See, me, I'm just a firm believer in divine timing, and I affirm that every day. So what's for me is already working for me. I ain't gotta chase that, I ain't gotta rush that, it's already mine. I'm on my own timeline.
You can't rush my greatness, I've been elevating daily on a mission for my people. All the love I've been receiving, oh, got me oh so dedicated to uplift the world's vibration. This is affirmation of alignment with the highest. This the road less traveled. You don't have a say-so in how I move. You don't know my battles. Can't be on my boat with no paddle. How you talking down on the captain, but moving like cattle? Niggas try to play me, but that shit is funny. Get to know the new me. I've been getting money. I've been changing lives now. Conquer my depression, leveled up, and I'm alright now. Yeah.
Peace to the guys and goddesses. What's good? And welcome back to another episode. Hey, what's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Kozmic Konnectionz. Tonight we're having a raw conversation. We'll be talking about manifestation and toxic positivity. So let's go ahead and tap on in and get on in. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share the video. And let's go ahead and get on into it. So, first question I have, just for us to kind of get an understanding of what we're talking about is when it comes to manifesting and, toxic positivity and just things of that nature. But if Cecilia, do you want to go ahead and start by what toxic positivity looks like to you?
What you know better, you do better. No,
right.
No, but that's what manifestation is knowing, what I'm saying, not just the laws of the universe, but the universe is you, but knowing thyself. And that retrospect is, I don't know, I see some, like, when I first came into, like, my awakening, I guess you would say, but I've been starting my spiritual journey. I talked about this in my life since before I came into this body, but knowing myself and understanding how things work and know who I am, I began to see, like, in the spiritual community, like, these, YouTubers and stuff like that, they're always like, so, love your life and namaste and everything. Like, they made it seem like, spirituality is just like this glorious thing and just ride the unicorns all day and
oh my God,
glitter
yeah.
and you do this, and that, you'll be okay. When in reality,
yeah,
that route and
it's
that's
far
the work.
from.
You know what I mean? Like, you really got to do the work. Understanding, like I talked about earlier too, is like we have different methods, and everybody have these so many different methods, to manifesting. Like, for instance, like at the 369 method. I had a client actually inbox me this rising talking about that and asking me how to do it. She's like, yeah, I learned this and I've been doing it this way. I'm like, you're doing it correctly. She's like, yeah, it didn't work. And I'm like, she must have been on TikTok. I said, let me break it down for you. I said, matter of fact, I'm just going to do a live so everybody can get the message. I'm like, those techniques don't work. And people's probably like looking at me like, what you mean those techniques don't work? It don't work unless you allow it to, unless you put the power and the intentions into, letting it work for you. You can have journaling, you can hop on one leg, hold those, breathing out, twist around. But it's not going to work if you don't have the beliefs, you know what I mean? Not just the belief, because the belief is a lie. You have to have the knowing.
Yes.
You have to feel it. You have to see it. You have to imagine it. And that's how you manifest. But manifest is not always going to be easy as well. Because people think, this... it's all shits and giggles, but sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you know what I'm saying? But when you know better, you do better, because ultimately you create your reality. So yes, you're going to have those moments where, your back is against the wall and you feel in a certain way, and it's okay to release that. But knowing in the back of your mind, listen, I can't stay here. I know that I create my reality. So in that sense, I got to do what I got to do. I got to boss up.
Absolutely.
It's okay to feel. Being a little minute, you know what I mean? But, in reality, then you just got to do what you got to do.
Indeed. And, I think that, we forget that healing is also a part of helping you learn to manifest a lot faster, quicker, and more effortlessly. And if we're not processing our emotions properly and we're just in this space or in this state of constant like suppression because we're always trying to be positive, and we think that every single time we get upset or angry or whatever, all of this whirlwind of negative energy is going to come consume our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it doesn't do us any good, and it becomes very toxic. But Chris, I know that you were about to say something. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, also to add to that, and my definition, I will also say that toxic positivity, for an example, would be me, on this podcast right now, speaking on manifestation, positive aspects of manifestation and things of that nature. And then I get off of here and I'm judging people, right? I'm not, living in the positivity that I'm preaching, right? I'm doing things outside of the nature that I'm speaking, right? So now I'm adding toxic traits to that positivity, which is also shutting down my manifestations, right? When I'm not loving myself correctly, right? But preaching on self-love, right? When I'm allowing people into my energy that say, hey, we want the best for you, but their energy is, very envious and jealous, and you're naive to the signs and synchronicities, right? Because sometimes it's not about us. Sometimes we just have the wrong environment and the wrong people around us that add into, why things in our lives aren't being manifested as quickly as they should be. So, I tell people sometimes when they say, I'll pray for you. No, don't pray for me. I don't know what type of burdens that you carry in your heart for me. You know what I mean? I don't know what you truly feel in your heart for me, right? And if you're trying to speak positivity into me, and then as soon as I turn my back, you put negative energy on my manifestations when I tell you about something positive that I'm doing or the goals that I'm trying to hit, then that also plays a big factor into why you're not manifesting as quickly, and that becomes toxic positivity because you find yourself reacting to those things, right? Either energetically, consciously, or subconsciously, which often leads to those emotions of anger, which is actually a chemical balance within your nature. And when you become angry, your body and your cells say, we're angry now, right? So now the energy of the universe is reacting to your anger, right? So not only is that toxic positivity harmful for you, but it's also harmful to everything that's in your environment.
Absolutely. And I think just to break down what you're saying is basically that, being mindful of the people that you keep around you, the support system that you have, because those people can be the same people that are, while you're sitting here trying to manifest and bring about certain things into your reality, there's people that might not want that for you, and therefore they're manifesting against what it is that you desire. And
Absolutely.
And eventually what that does is basically, again, like you said, slows down what it is that you want to bring into this reality. So
Absolutely.
what would your definition be of toxic positivity, or what experiences have you had or examples you can give to give people a better understanding of what that looks like?
For me, it's a bit of what both of what the God and the goddess was just explaining. It's the same for me, and also just to add on to that, toxic positivity. So it's being able to put your alchemist hat on and make things for your rise, make it happen for your rise out of toxic things. Being able to go ahead and turn something that at the moment felt like it was wrong for you and bring a positive out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe things that people go on their journey.
Hat.
You may become homeless or things of that nature. And because you're homeless, you bump into somebody and doors start to open for you. So it's all about your perspective and how you're able to transmute, transform energy, because that's all everything is anyway,
And that's a fact. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom, Kyle. My apologies.
No worries. I agree with what you're saying, because again, just understanding that, you have to process your emotions. This is about consciousness and being aware, and when we're not aware of our emotions and what's going on within us, and we're just solely focusing on the positive and, and not really feeling positive within, there is no manifestation that's going to come that's going to either that's not going to stay, or that's going to be, it's going to be delayed heavily, and we just have to learn to that emotional processing is necessary for the spiritual journey in general, not just manifestation, but life in its entirety. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't learn that, then it's always going to block our manifestations. We're only going to get half of what it is that we want to have in this lifetime, or it's going to reduce the quality of our manifestations as well. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because you're always manifesting, right?
Whether
by
what we do
default
all day,
or on
day.
purpose, intentionally. Right?
Yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's
you manifested your way into this body.
and if you're not alchemizing, right, then you're kind of like, leaving yourself in this purgatory of self-doubt. You start to, dislike who you are. You start to begin to compare yourself to everything that you see outside of yourself instead of going within and using that as, whether you're using it as motivation to push yourself forward. You know what I mean? So yeah. I agree with, what the goddess said 100%. Alchemy is very key, to the awareness when it comes to toxic positivity and how it influences the manifestations. And also, if I go down my timeline, right, and I don't have, consciously aware people down my timeline, and all you see is goofy shit, excuse my language, all down your timeline all day, how is that's going to begin to influence you? Because over time, what you see becomes a habit. And after that habit, over time, becomes an action, right? So, yes. We got to kind of like catch ourselves, right, and get back to that 0 point of awareness.
Yes, right. And that goes into, go ahead, my bad.
No, like the guy was saying, because at the end of the day, this is Earth School, the universe. We're here to advance our souls, and these things are gonna happen. It's gonna pop up for you to learn how to master self.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And that's part of the goal.
It is.
Yes.
Speaking
but
of
you
that,
said you graduate, right? Divine University.
Yeah. Don't stop. It doesn't
levels.
Stop,
it doesn't. Yeah, it's continuous.
And ongoing thing.
Yeah. And so speaking on that, because that's actually another thing that I wanted to talk about is how, you guys believe social media has contributed to toxic positivity, because you can scroll, like you said, you can scroll on your timeline and it's nothing but, and so therefore people who are just stepping into their journey, and, it can give this false narrative that, it's all love and light, and it's not. A part of this journey is to, like you said, mastering yourself, and the only way to master yourself is to understand, and overstand the dark and light, and embrace it all, right? It's
absolutely.
So how do you guys feel like social media contributes to toxic positivity, and how it could affect those who are beginning their journey and unaware that it's not all love and light?
Anybody want to hop on that?
Oh man,
if not, then I'll,
Well, social media is another program, another programming system, So, lost train of thought. Somebody trying to get my thoughts. So, you got to watch. Ultimately, you're in control of these programs. So, you got to be aware of the programs that you're putting into your system. And sometimes we slip up. We do. I find myself sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm going in there and watch a little baddie, here and there. But I am aware. I got to keep it real.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
So you like, your awareness has to be there, and you have to be able to take the programming out. Because it's gonna they throw these things at us constantly.
Yeah.
It's all about being able to master it, and sometimes. You gotta take the chaos. You gotta take the negative.
Right.
Sometimes it gets you where you need to go. Sometimes you gotta get fired up. Sometimes you gotta see these things. You gotta be exposed to these things, because it's gonna, sometimes it kind of lights a fire in your ass, and you kind of, go in, dig in deep. So it all depends on how you see things, your perspective, and how you use these things. Which plays a big part. But for those that's getting into this, have patience with yourself, and yes, please be aware of the programs, because that's what it is that you're watching, because it'll subconsciously, the program is going on subconsciously while you're watching these things. It's hitting your subconscious, which rules the conscious. So your awareness not there,
Yeah, we're constantly.
I had to snap to that because you put that so eloquent. You know what I mean?
Thank you, God.
When she said that, it reminded me of the Matrix movie with a part where I forgot the character name, but remember he took the bait where the Matrix basically was like, Smith was like, listen, I'm gonna give you the women, the steak, and all of that if you when she revived, sometimes you have to understand who you are, because if he understands who he was, he can understand he can go in and out the Matrix without taking that deal, right? So he just fall victim into falling for the Matrix because, like she said, we are in a simulation inside of a simulation, especially with social media inside another simulation. It's kind of like the Matrix again. I go back to the Matrix because that movie's so profound, because they had Zion, but Zion was still in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, like she said, you have to understand how to pull yourself out, and you have to understand how to grasp that, because remember, the machines came to the Zion, right? They went to their front door, right?
And speaking on the alchemy as well, right? Just little practices and things that I do to train my subconscious, right? If I go see a funny video, right, that maybe someone would judge as not, totally positive, right? I would just train my subconscious I'm using this laughter to increase my vibration. I am not storing the information into my subconscious, but I'm pulling the laughter, right, from it to increase my vibration. And that's all I'm using it for, right? So I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to jump in the comments. I'm just going to laugh my ass off, right? Yeah. And then I'm going to go put the phone down and be like, okay, now that my vibration is up a little bit, let me put this somewhere, right? Let me put this into something.
But let me tell you what he do though. He'll fall asleep with those shits playing. I got to deal with it. I don't go through his phone. I just got to take it and pause it or undo it. It locks his phone. I'm like, listen, you can't go to sleep with that.
Because most of the time, look, I be narcoleptic, right? So I just be watching it, then next thing you know, knocked out. You know what I mean? But that's one way, I try to train myself, to not really give into it. But also the big thing that I really want the ones on the bottom to really, really understand, right? When they want to come into this journey, don't let nobody discourage you, right? Things that I hear on these social media platforms, right? Because people go on YouTube to get knowledge, right? And you want to judge people about YouTube University and all of this, right? And you talking about this person regurgitating this person regurgitating that, right? Well, all of this information came from somewhere else even before it got to them. So if the information, right, came from history, then in a sense, you're regurgitating it as well. You're just putting your own thought process and form into it. So that's still a form of regurgitation, but now you're telling the others in the spiritual community that they shouldn't regurgitate or they shouldn't go on YouTube and kind of it's not a microwavable thing to some of us, because we take this from here, and we let it lead our thought processes right into what we want to manifest it to be, right? But the ones on the bottom that want to learn, you discourage them now by telling them that they are regurgitating, and you make them feel like fools, and they don't want to learn, and they don't even want to go to the elders anymore because they're going to feel foolish. They don't want to speak to anybody about it because they feel like if I say this, somebody's going to tell me I'm regurgitating information, and I'm going to feel dumb about myself. Stop doing that. Let people learn on their own level as they ascend through their journey. Let them walk themselves through their thought process.
Worse in the church.
And listen,
you know what I mean?
It's nothing new under the sun.
That's crazy. There's nothing new under the sun.
It has to be regurgitated anyway.
I ain't gonna go on a rant, y'all, but that was one thing that I really see that it irks me, so.
Yeah, and that's funny because I was literally about to say, that was the first thing that came to mind, is there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
There's nothing not happening.
until we can get to the point where we're ascending and we're able to go up in the mental plane and go on and grab those thoughts and those ideas that are already there to push the transmission forward. You know, this is where we're at with it, because
and we all got experience itself, right?
Those things,
that's what ascension is you coming into the same information, looking at it from a higher state of mind or from a new perspective, but it's the same information being presented. You're just gathering more data or more data, and you're learning more things, and you're integrating it deeper within your vessel and your being. So there's, like you said, there's nothing new under the sun. We just have to like eliminate the blockages that come with the conscience and
absolutely. And
you know what I'm saying?
If they are regurgitating, right? Even if they are regurgitating word for word, something inside their spirit is trying to wake up and add to the collective energy that's being presented from the universe. So why are you trying to beat them down for that so they can go back into a negative mindset that will ultimately bring the collective energy back down? I just don't get it.
I think that there has to be, I agree 100%. I also think that there should be a balance too, because what happens is we do have certain individuals who do take information without proper studying information, and they use that as, you know what I'm saying? Because there's people who can tell you all about Kundalini energy, yet have never experienced it.
Right.
You know, they can tell you all about the knowledge of yoga and this, that, and the third, but they're not practicing it every day.
Facts.
Oh, I learned about this deity. Now I'm going to summons it.
That's a lesson.
Right. That's a fact. Right.
Like, oh yeah, I'm daughter of, like for me, I'm daughter of, oh yeah, but you're not going to hear me screaming that out because I haven't even delved into that.
Right.
You know, but we see people screaming it out and yet not fully understanding what they're speaking on. So I think that the delivery of how you should be present, how you should learn to just to study that information could be different. Like, instead of saying like, you don't know enough, you're not wise enough, or you just regurgitate the information. Like, you know what, I'm glad that you're inspired by this information. I encourage you to go deeper and look deeper within whatever this is.
Absolutely.
For understanding and into that, into to where you will start, because once you understand something to a degree, you will start receiving intuitive downloads. But it will never happen as yours just clean, like on a surface level. You got to start doing the inner work. You got to go in deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's levels to it. And this is not to say, this is not in an egotistical way, but it's just true. You can't expect ascension without doing the inner work and trying to understand self.
That's a fact.
You got to go within.
That's that toxic positivity.
That's that toxic.
You can't fool the universe though. That shit gonna show in your life.
In this digital age, right? I spoke on this. In this digital age, we don't run to our elders. We run to social media, right? And that is a huge problem, right? Especially, for the elders that's been, holding that information and learning and studying that information for 10, 20 plus years, right? I agree with you on that completely, Kai, and finding that balance to say, let me go to an elder because I don't know everything. Let me not talk out of my you-know-what. Let me go talk to somebody who's been studying this for, a very long time, and then cultivate that within myself, and then, begin to lead with my thought processes. So I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I think that on another note, it's just like some of us are on a journey by ourselves and are meant to be by ourselves without an elder. You know what I'm saying? There's some for instance, for myself, and I got on a journey to where I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I need somebody, whatever. And then I came into contact with someone, and I think it was a Shahil, which rest in peace. But he told me that people who are traveling this journey alone, you're just one of those people.
Right.
He told me the same thing too.
Really, and
I asked him to do my Akashic records, and he told me.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, and I was like, oh well, all right. They'll come. I'll have people come to me. They'll teach me what I need to know, and they leave. And
that's it. I'm on my own.
It's been that way, but there are some people. We just have to learn to kind of just flow. That's really what it is, instead of outside of self. Because and then when, like what they say, is like when the student is ready, the teacher comes.
I say to that.
Instead of us, and everyone's journey is different. There will be times to where spirit is guiding you to go seek out a mentor or a coach in some sort. But at the end of the day, it all should be leading you back to self.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All of these things are going to play out in your manifestations. That's going to that if you want to, if you want your manifestations to come in a lot, smoother, for the most part, or just because this is the thing. Sometimes spirit ain't going to bring you a manifestation that's smooth. Most of the time it is, depending on where you're at. But sometimes you got to work for it.
Right. Facts.
But being in alignment with self requires you to go within. And that toxic positivity kind of derailed, like it kind of throws you off.
Yes. I've seen so many. Let me get this crystal and I'll be okay. And I'm like, and then they come to like, well, I got somebody doing a root work on me, or is this a spell on me? And I'm like, we want to just do a consultation and we go deeper. And I'm like, okay, you don't have no spell work on you. I'm like, you want to hear this? They're like, I really don't. So they get mad. Sometimes they understand, but I'm like, you just need to take accountability.
Right.
And you need to fight them parasites and you'll be okay. There's no spell work on you. Nobody's doing nothing. You're doing it all to yourself.
It's 100%, but I just getting back on to just the toxic positivity and just thinking that, everything's all love and light.
You know what? I was just saying on my live, the video that you had just watched a couple of days ago about that. I basically was saying, listen, I was getting my ass kicked for the past couple of days.
Yeah.
These
we all go through it.
You know what I mean? These things gonna happen, and it's about how you handle it, because it's not going to stop. That is part of the all.
Yeah, it's what do you call it?
It's still part of the all.
It is. Most of the time, yeah. And there's no diamond without, the pressure.
I think it's a fun little game the creator does.
It is, and this also
with the guy that said that.
Imagine a life. Imagine a life without chaos.
You're comfortable, huh?
No, yeah,
good, huh?
And to be real with y'all, you know what I'm saying? That's how it really was when, I first started awakening to the information and on a journey. That's how I really thought things were, right? And I began to have these conflicts with myself, right? Because I'm trying to fight against my shadows, right? So much that I can't see that, they're trying to work together, right? So, when I'm stepping into that light and walking around in the daisies and all of that, shit just keep happening, right? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep being positive. And more shit keep happening, right? And then, you feel me? And then you get the doing the why me? I'm being positive type thing, right? All the time, your shadows is just trying to show you how to integrate those and how to balance those out rather than just like either be on this side where it's all love and light or be on this side of total destruction. You got to bring that balance in between them.
And sometimes spirit does that in order for you to start releasing those repressed emotions.
For sure.
Because people don't want to feel their emotions. People don't want to feel the anger. People don't want to feel the sadness. People don't want to feel the despair. They don't want to feel the grief. But you have to in order to release, because like we know, what blocks chakras? Suppressed energy.
Yeah.
What are emotions? Energy.
Facts.
If we're suppressing our emotions, then we're blocking ourselves, right? And sometimes spirit will keep bringing things back to back until you get to the point to where you're like, you let it out. And then they're like, you finally feel it.
And not only suppressing, also, using certain substances and things to try to suppress it, right? It just brings it out more, right? So that's one thing I was also mindful about as well, going through the journey, right? Thinking that I'm going crazy because, everything, around my environment had me feeling like I was going crazy for feeling the way that I was feeling. So I just kept trying to suppress with these different substances and things of that nature, right? And I'm I'm glad I've gotten to a point where I don't need those things and I can just let my emotions flow now. You know what I mean? And have those self-talks. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I walk around during the day and just talk to myself, you know?
Yeah, and and I think that's where you start. That's where your journey really starts to take off. And in my opinion, because I think that the hardest part in this journey is to learning to allow your emotions to just be.
Right.
Because that's all they are. Just they're, what I'm saying, this is the thing again, we like to suppress them. We don't want to feel them.
Right.
Right. And so once we get to a point to where we allow them to just come and go, right? That's when we start ascending. Because now we're not standing in our way. Because that's really I think to me, in my perspective, that's the hardest challenge of all on this journey.
Absolutely.
Is dealing with the emotional aspect of being human. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really, and then because how do I say this? So many things happen in life, right? Crap, like shit happens all the time, right? But the thing is that it's not about what happens to you in life, but how you react to it.
Absolutely.
Right? And if we're not able to process our emotions, life is gonna be rough. If we don't know how to process our emotions and let them come and go and just be there for ourselves in those times of grief and those times of anger and those times of sadness and those times of whatever, and just allow ourselves to just kind of feel it out. If we can't do that, life is gonna be crazy.
So I got a question for you guys.
You know what I'm saying?
How do you guys use that toxic positivity when you're around people that's just constantly like negative, right? The people that always got a problem for every solution. You know, the negative Nancy's and things.
I rebuke all that shit. I'm like, you can't talk to me like that. You can't
one way to get them off your.
You can't talk.
One way to get them off your line is start talking about solutions.
Yeah.
You start talking about. Okay, well then you need to whatever. That's me. That's me. Like, dog, you're not gonna call my phone with the same issue.
Right.
Like, no, we need solutions. What are you gonna do about it? Because at this point, it's a repetitive cycle that you're doing to yourself. So if usually they get off the phone with me, but
just talking negative about it, they doing it themselves. Be mindful of your words, what you speak. That spells.
But that's that's why people don't call me.
What about you, Ani? What's some things that you do, for those kind of people?
Negative. I mean, because they can't stand to be around. They're not gonna stay around. I don't know, because they don't like to be around me anyway. Negativity.
Like irritates them.
To be honest with you, negative people they can't stand.
They don't like the light.
Like they want some of you, but they don't want some of you.
Like,
right.
It's levels to it, but for people who are just coming on their journey, there's a lot of things you can do. Try to stay away from them. Try to alchemize the negativity that's around you. Meaning, like she said, finding solutions to negativity or negative people that are around you, or simply cut their ass off.
Right.
Old-fashioned way.
Okay. And basically put some protection on you, so that it's kind of slim chances that you have to kind of deal with that on a regular basis.
And I agree with what you said, because I think once you reach a certain level, once you reach a certain level of truth within yourself, people stop coming to you with the BS.
Yeah, it's like
not
around me,
My life is peaceful for the most part, besides my own individual stuff I might have going on from time to time. But
I agree with all of those things. For sure.
Things, because they understand that I'm going to shine light on where you're, whether I say it or not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I know that. Because I you know what I'm saying? Like, once you reach a certain level of truth within yourself,
they're not going to be around you. They won't be able to stand up to your light.
Exactly.
And that's what I had to realize, right? Because
they'll start seeing themselves. They'll start seeing themselves.
I was going through survivor's guilt, right? Coming coming through that awakening. You know how you go through that survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
you know, and you kind of leave some pieces of yourself in those old environments, right? I had a problem where I just couldn't let it go. You know what I mean? So that's why I just wanted to, you know, get you guys' opinion, and for anybody in the chat that may be going through that right now, you know, let that survivor's guilt go. You can't save everybody. You can't force information down people's throat, and you can't wake them up. You just got to learn to stay away from that, be that example, and be that lighthouse for them. And hopefully, you know, they'll come to terms and, you know, begin to integrate those methods into their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think another thing with that is that when we're at a point, and I've realized that, I'm saying this because I realized it about myself. When you go through that stage to where you're trying to wake people up and you're trying to get them to see certain things, or you this, that, and the third, it's just, to me, it's almost a projection of self and what you're not doing for self. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us get caught up in that loop of trying to wake everybody up and have this savior complex and this, that, and the third, when you just if you look at it, you're kind of like, in that moment, you could be stagnant on your own journey.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I noticed for myself. I noticed that anytime that I was in that space, or when I was in that space starting, you know, my journey, I wasn't doing much of that as much inner work that I should have been doing during that time. I had a lot of information that I was excited about, but not yet integrating or implementing within my own life. So I think that's one of the times we're projecting what we want for ourselves onto other people, and if we see somebody else doing it, we're feeling like we're doing something, right, but inevitably avoiding the inner work that we should be doing for ourselves anyway.
For sure.
Now I'd be like, come on, another assignment. I'm like, this assignment is up.
This cycle is over. I ended that cycle already. Yeah.
I'm like, I hand you the book here.
For real. No, for real, you know, and this is where it just comes into, because you know what, just getting back to the toxic positivity, right? You know how, like, when people get to, like, you know, I won't even say that. I'll say this, is that because of this toxic positivity, when they see their leaders or their freaking people that they looked up to with all these millions of followers and this, that, and the third, and they see them do some like off the wall shit, and they're like, you know, what? The
you may do it again.
Like,
Brad Pearl.
That's on the people for putting their expectations on people.
Yeah,
that's on you for putting your currency and your energy into them, and then you get disappointed, or you be like, what the hell going on?
Yeah.
No. I learned. I don't put nothing past anybody.
Exactly.
Right. I don't put expectations on you know, others. You know, it's you versus you. So you are putting all your energy into another being that, you know, you probably never even met before, and they do something that you don't approve of, and now you boo-hoo about it. That is on you.
Right. I always tell people, don't look up to me. I am not your leader.
No, for real. I be telling people all the time.
I'll give you some sound advice and take it or leave it.
You know,
have people that look up to you, and then if they can't, you know, obtain it in their own life, when you're really giving them the tools to do it, and they feel like they can't because they're not doing the work, then they try to, you know, come at you. I've had that before too. I'm like, oh shit, that went left.
Right now,
you know what they don't
do?
What people forget is that
I may be loving light one day. You might see my live, and the next live I'm not loving light.
Right.
Shit.
I have my
exactly. Don't expect me. You can't put me in a box. I'm limitless, so don't expect me to have the same face or the same every time.
Exactly.
Where I'm at that very moment, in that present moment.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And what I was gonna say is that
you be open to that, or you don't. You know.
Like, oh yeah, my bad. Sorry, but you know what people forget is that the more inner work that you do, the more authentic you become. The more real you get. Yeah. So you start taking off the facade, and people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is authenticity.
Right.
You know, like, what? Like, no, you're not gonna like shit. I cuss and I do whatever the fuck, this, that, whatever.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, they forget, like, they have this dolled up perspective of spirituality. It's the drip, it's the freaking, all these big words, or
it doesn't have a look,
actual freaking sticks and all this other stuff. And I'm like, look, spirituality is about what's within you, and it has nothing to do with outside of you. It's about consciousness, awareness. The more that you become aware, the more that you raise your frequency to tap into other realms and become aware of those realms, right? It's just, but it's just like, people see, how do I explain this? Because it's like, when you are on this journey, everybody has that peak in their journey, in the beginning of their journey, to where they're eating right, they're doing all this, everything by the book, right? And then you get to a point to where you are perceived as falling off.
Mm.
But in reality, you're stepping into your more authentic nature.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are more drawn to eating meat and all that extra stuff. Some people aren't. We all have free will. You can do it or hell, whatever. But at the end of the day, some people aren't necessarily falling off. They're falling into who they are. They're tapping into who they are.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you get on this spiritual journey to realize that's not even the path that you want to be on.
Absolutely.
It's not their calling.
Exactly.
I don't want to get off of the topic, but I just wanted to add this real quick that, a lot of our people have been, been shoved other cultures, ideologies down our throat so much that, we lose a sense of who we are, right? Mm-hmm. Because most of the time, right, we see things from other cultures and we take that into our journey as well, right? And we lose a part of ourselves. You feel what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely.
Absolutely. And it's all about, your awareness and being able to and not lose yourself and stick to who you are.
Yeah.
Finding out who you are, knowing who you are. Which is kind of cliche to say, because to me, you're constantly learning who you are. It's like, you never stop learning who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the process of learning who you are, you realize that you are all and all.
And realize, yes.
For sure.
Everything is connected.
Everything is nothing. Everything and nothing at the same time. And it's just like, coming into that awareness, it's like, there's it's like you can get caught up in that too. Like if you're not careful, because then you're like, I'm going nothing. At the same time, I could be whoever the I want to be. Like, you still have a core blueprint here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I think that there's levels to it, but at the end of the day, this is about understanding who you are. Not only in this lifetime, because we're here in this lifetime where we already incarnated. There's a part that you play in this lifetime as a specific, or like, how do I say, like embodying a certain energy or energy type, right? Even though you're all in nothing at the same time, you're still incarnated on a specific path, in a specific energy for this lifetime. You know what I'm saying?
It's still rules to this, right? It still rules to this because we all have free will, but you still must abide by certain codes. Like even people that live the street life got certain codes, right? So, we should live by those same spiritual codes, right? We don't necessarily always have to do it by the book or exactly how someone should tell us how to do it, right? But for the most part, we should follow certain guidelines about your morals, characteristics, and values that you're going to add not only to yourself, but the community and the collective around you.
Yeah. To piggyback off what he's saying is, we are your God. So that's what it's all about. Kind of, put things together, put your own splash on it. For example, like affirmations.
Yeah.
The principle of what you're doing, your intent, your magic, yes, all follow that rule, but You got to go on in there and figure your own affirmations out in your own magic and what
those are the best
for you.
Yeah.
You know? So in a nutshell, that I'm going off of what the guy just said. You know?
Yes, I do my affirmations differently. I still do the I am, but I'm like, I give myself permission, and then I start off with that.
Right, works for you as you being God.
Levels,
Right.
Yeah, and that's
I've been, doing a little research and, and just on, what words I should use for which chakra, right? Like for my heart chakra, I feel. You know what I mean? For my crown chakra, I know, right? It's just not always about I am, right? Because you're kind of limiting yourself in your chakra system, right? So you kind of want to do your affirmations based on which ones are more closed or open, So I've been trying to like integrate that more into my practice.
What's that song by Tone Levels that you got me listening to? High vibration, but I still beat your ass.
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite affirmation.
I'm vibrating high, but I still beat your ass. I said,
I
love that shit.
Beat your ass.
I just see that.
I'll be
That's what I was saying.
That's
what I was saying earlier. Like you people have this certain put you on a pedestal where they think that you gotta be in a certain everybody is embodied if we're all the divine, if we're all a piece of God or the Most High, I would say, in different forms, it would be highly unintelligent to create itself in the same way every single time, right?
And the reason why we have different blueprints and personalities and characteristics because of the times that we came in with the planet alignment that makes up the embodiments of all. So we are God expressing itself through different energy.
Exactly.
And even if you want to compare that, to biblical text, right? Out of all 12 of those disciples, you think them niggas ain't never had beef? You think them niggas ain't never go against the grain, right? You think they ain't never go against each other? Or this man that did something with this woman, and this person that did that, and now they all beefing, right? And whatnot, right? But they all understood the bigger and higher perspective of it, right? But we are all different and we are all unique, right? But it's still showing you that you have your own free will. But, for the most part, you live by your guidelines, but no one person is ever going to live up to that, that higher expectation.
Just remembering, because this is my thing. Like my awareness looks like I know when I'm in my shadow, and I like to play in my shadow. I like the shadow side of life. I do. And now you can get stuck there if you're not there.
Right.
For sure.
I have to catch myself sometimes. Like, all right, Courtney, you didn't have it too much fun. Well, here's time to rise on back up, right?
I know I could be real petty right now.
Right, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, to me, I think that, you have to. What is life without the shadow? I like the shadow. Why are we throwing this? Why are you throwing it away? Like, it's fun here. Just like
I just went through that the other day. I was in a situation as to where, as though,
you gotta be careful.
We love having fun, right? But it comes a time and a point where you're not playing, right? And some people don't understand that, right? Because they live in their own 3D reality, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm chilling in my shadows. I'm like, shadows, they like, get on their ass. I'm like, light, get on their ass. Okay, so we all in the grid. All right. And then I just started going in. You feel what I'm saying? So, it's like you said, Kai, you got to find that balance, right? And come in agreement with both parts of your higher self and your lower self to say, okay, I can move on this. Once I'm done, I'm releasing.
But once you get to, I think this comes in when you come to, you still got to do the inner work, because a lot of people shadow is just damn devilish. Now you want to make sure that you have that under wraps or under control, or not even. But because again, you can get stuck there, and I've been there many times to where I'm playing in my shadow, and I'm like, oh shoot, hold on, and then I come back to my okay, let me go back let me come out of this room and go into the other room. You know what I'm saying? But this is you hit certain levels of consciousness or awareness of self. And I think that takes a lot of I've been, for myself, I've been on my shadow work journey specifically for almost 5 years, right? A lot of, before I even truly understood, you know, I wanted to do shadow work before I really understood the dynamic of consciousness, right? It was like more of a thing to where I knew what, and I called it shadow work. I knew it was healing. I was just wanting to evolve. But I think it takes a lot of time to really understand and understand your shadow and come into a certain acceptance of your shadow and awareness of your shadow. Because there's aspects of your shadow to me that can trick you. Can trick your unawareness. Like to me, that's how it looks to me. It goes deep, right? And so it's not a thing to where you can say like, oh yeah, let me go freaking slit her throat and go back to the light afterwards, because you know that's not what it is. Just more of a thing to where, like, for me, it's just like, you'll know because you heal a certain
Facts.
you
So,
get
yeah,
to a
so-
certain kind of healing, you know what's right and wrong. You have principles, you have morals, you have things that you stand by, right? And when you get to that point to where you're understanding of those things itself and your shadow, you can kind of walk in and out of your shadow as you please.
Yep, and that's a big part of manifesting as well, right? Because when you are able to balance and harness those energies, right? Because first and foremost, anybody that's in the comments or that may be watching that's not too big on manifestation, one of the biggest things that I tell people is that you have to recognize that you're taking an idea from your mind and pulling it to the 3D, right? So when you have that idea, right, before you even physically act or move on it, that thought is being sent out into the ethers, right? So now the universe begins working, right? Or your spirit guides or your team or whatever, right? So you have to, that's your baby, right? So before that even becomes something that's physical, that's tangible, that you can touch, right? You got to cultivate that like a baby in the realms as well, right? So if you're just walking in your shadows all the time, doing too much while trying to cultivate your ideas, you're bringing a dark cloud over your manifestations. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to, point that out as well.
Yeah, it's the shadow is more like, a playground. You're not sitting in your playground all day. Like, that's to me though.
See, here's the thing. Once you come down here, you're now on a mission. Once you come down to this realm, because you always exist, you're now on a mission to save yourself. So you have to understand and understand that your shadow is a part of you. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. It is a part of you. And when you guys talk about being able to recognize and aware of it when things pop up within you, and coming to the surface, and how do you take control of that? Because that's basically what it's about with your shadow. Okay. So for whoever is just getting into this, the shadow's not going nowhere.
No, it's not.
Facts.
Shadow is going to shadow. It's all about, while we're here, mastering these things about you, self.
Yes, and you're right.
And can I ask you guys a question? Just to jump back on topic with manifesting, right? Because I always love to hear. We could talk about, how we have become successful in our goals and things of that nature. But what are some of the challenges that you guys have been facing, whether it's recently or past, present, or future, in your manifesting journey, just for the viewers and people that don't know much about, manifesting?
I think my biggest thing is,
you can become stagnant sometimes.
Yeah, and
you do things that can kind of delay the process of your manifestation. These things are going to come up because it's all part of you being able. You have to. In order for you to be experiencing in something, you have to go through it. In order for you to really gain the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding and enlightenment, you got to experience certain things. So, these things it's gonna pop up, and it's all to help you to get to that level where you're able to ascend and you're able to go ahead and knock those type of things out the box. But yeah, I've dealt with stagnancy, delays, kind of manifesting things that I thought I already ended that cycle, and voila, okay, let's see if you really about that life,
I wrote a little chart right here. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Yeah.
But the first one, the bottom here is you and your shadow. And this is the dumpster right here, right? Your shadow is lagging behind your higher self, right? You got all this trash, right? From the past or whatever previous. Up here is where you should be, next to hand in hand, skipping with your shadow. And the dumpster is behind here with all the trash. Because ultimately, when I'm manifesting or having a past experience, I'm talking about experience. And we talked about the toxic positivity or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to talk myself into like saying, well, I started off with all the I ams. This is like years ago. I'm like, oh no, I am this and I am magnificent and I am abundant. And I'm like, this shit ain't working, man. I'm like, fuck, man, what's going on? Thought I was doing it right. I'm over here crying and shit. and this right here, the little shadow man's like, yo, man, you trying to leave me, son. You need to get back over here, yo. The fuck, you forget who you is now, nigga? And I'm like, no, I am. And he goes like, bitch, nah. You trying to leave me?
No,
Like the
for real.
niggas in the hood, nigga. You trying to leave, yo? You gotta try to convince the shadow, the
No, for
evil,
real, that's
like,
how
this
it
what
was.
it is. Like,
That's crazy because that's how it was
like
for
you
me,
coming
yo.
with me, like we going up together, brother.
Dealing with that was one of my
About
biggest
this
problems
era.
with manifesting, yo. Niggas in the motherfucking hood, right? So I'm at this point in my
That's
journey.
that nigga in the hood
I'm
right
up.
there,
I'm
y'all.
up.
Right here, look. He at the bodega and shit. All
Yup.
your shadows. You know what I'm saying? Nigga told you ain't shit.
Yup.
You only got $10 in your bank account, nigga. Who the
Listen,
fuck you think you
listen,
are? A
and look, I'm
multi-millionaire
telling
and
you,
shit.
look, I'm the motherfuckers from Friday behind the dumpster smoking the blunt and shit like this. You hear me? Keep running back behind the dumpster trying to smoke a blunt and shit, right? Nah, man. That for real. That was one of my biggest challenges I faced, was like letting that shit the fuck go. And I ain't gotta prove nothing to nobody. I know who I am and I know what I'm capable of, but I now gotta be the best version of myself. And when I started recognizing that, then that's when things just started to look up more and more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think another thing that comes with manifesting is understand the process of manifesting. One, it doesn't always come when you want it to come. It's gone its way, but it doesn't always come when it wants you to come, because sometimes there's things that you gotta release, like you say, let go of, whether it's a mentality, person, place, thing, you know, like you were saying earlier, there's some people that are in your life that are blocking your own blessings, that will continuously block your blessings until they're removed. You know, just mentalities. There's mentalities that need to be eradicated before you can manifest certain things or believe that you're deserving of that thing that you want to manifest. But what happens in the process of manifesting is we lose patience, for one, right? We think that we want things to happen right away. And that's something that I know that I have an Aries moon, okay? I want things right now. Like, no.
Yeah, facts.
So,
that's him right here.
like, where's the spirit? It's been 1 hour and I don't have my mansion.
Right.
But on another note, that's one thing. But I think another thing is that we usually tend to give up right before it begins to manifest. Because a lot of the times, if you're still holding on to those things that are no longer serving you, and you're not aware of those things, right? You say, like, you know what, I want this, that, and the third, and you start seeing that life just going to shit, or if you perceived to going sideways, and you're like, dang, I wanted a new job, I wanted a new house, and but I lost my job, I got fired, my house caught on fire.
Right.
Right.
And then you're like, what the, dang, whatever. But what it might not be that dramatic, but it's, a lot of the times spirit is removing those things so that your manifestation can come in, right?
I was going to talk about that too, and I wanted to be clear because I am delusional as fuck. They know he's very logical and I'm very delusional, and I'm like, listen, I am that bitch. I am rich. I live in a mansion already before I even have
And
a
I'm a
mansion.
Virgo. I'm
I
like,
shop like I live in a mansion. He's like,
it's
babe,
not
the bills. I'm
computing
like, the bills
with
gonna
my
get
logic.
paid because I've come to that level.
I'm
And I'm
so
like, bring home a new plant or a new crystal or an animal. And he's like, what the fuck?
My head
But when
about
you
to explode
understand
over
it's
here
levels, that's
because
why
it's
I
not
said
working
in the
with my
beginning,
logic. So
when you
my
know
head is
better,
about to
you do
explode.
better.
And shit.
But now I want to say like this. You can say that the affirmations and stuff like that. And look, the little shadowing. I had to learn, like, I'm going to give you an example. In the beginning of my journey, when I started my business, I was manifesting, becoming this multi-millionaire, which I am already, right?
Mhm.
And
Sure.
I wanted to do all these great things with my powers and my gifts to help other people. But I had this fear of being seen.
Girl, me too.
So you want to be
still
out
going
there,
through
right?
that.
You want to help the world. You want to, do all this stuff. But you can't even go live. That was a shadow, man. Like,
Ooh,
we can't give you that if you can't get over that fear of being seen or being heard.
Yes. Ooh.
So what do I have to do? I have to dump that in the trash. What now? I have to go down to the line of somewhere where I believe that, my worthiness of, not being heard. Where that stem from? Because when we were little children, we had imagination, we had all this different things until we was told, not saying my parents did it, but I'm just saying on a general note, shut up, go away, be quiet, don't do that, don't color that, so where you have to fix you, that's doing the work, right? In order to become what you are desiring.
That's
you have
real,
to become that.
Because you can hang by the dumpster, but you're scared to go on the balcony. You know what I mean?
No, and that kind of aligns but that aligns with toxic positivity too, because you can have the what you like, the delusion in which we know that which is necessary from time to time, because you can, if you can see it, you can have it. You can bring it into manifestation, right? But if you can have these big dreams, right? And you can have like, this is what I want to do, and that very much be what you're here to do. And you can be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but when it's time to show up, and you like, I'm
gonna stay complacent here.
Start tomorrow, and then you know what I'm saying, or like, it's just like, but not even understanding that you have that fear. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's
exactly
because you can easily trick your mind into thinking that you're making some type of progress because you're excited about it.
Absolutely.
But you don't put anything into action, whether that's doing the inner work to remove the blockages that are blocking you from entering into that space to be who it is that you want to be and have what it is that you want to have, right?
And that's what this platform has been teaching me. That's why I love this platform so much. You know what I mean? And that's why, I'm so grateful to be here. And I don't care, if I'm dead ass tired or whatever, I'm showing up, right? Because this is the universe way of saying like you know who you are, and this is our way of pushing you into becoming that person. And don't get complacent. Keep showing up. Not only for your family, but this is your way of showing up for yourself and proving not only to yourself but to us that you can do this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love that CC. I love that you said that too, because because I was one of those people. I like a few years ago. You said Courtney on a podcast and freaking doing readings online. Yeah, no. I'm good. I like doing things in the background. And even back in the day, I initially growing up, I wanted to perform. I wanted to sing. I wanted to be an artist. And, I just didn't want to put myself out there.
It came full circle, didn't it?
But it came full circle.
I was a little girl in church when I remember my great grandmother, this lady right here. She brought me to church every Sunday. And I appreciate the church because, listen, the church taught me a lot. One of them Pentecostal churches too. She's like, you getting up there on that pulpit, you gonna read out the Bible, the scripture. I'm like, literally, I was on the pulpit, y'all. I was stuttering. You would think I couldn't read. I was about 7, but I was real good. I was sweating. I'm like, I don't want to do it. But she made me. You know what I'm saying? She taught me a lot. Like, I thank that woman because she's like,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
you're doing it. Yes, you're doing it.
And little do we know that those are the same things that we needed, you know, to kind of put us into position of who we're here to be. Because for me, like I had like, you know, the fear of speaking in front of people. I got ADHD. My mind goes ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Like shit, I can't keep up with my own thoughts from time to time, you know.
Right.
So it's like, so for me, I'm like, okay. And then I have the Virgo rising. So it's just like, I need to make sure I'm saying this perfectly. That got to be perfect. This got to be in alignment. Blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to say nothing that I don't feel confident talking about. You know what I'm saying? But then to realize and look deeper into my chart, I'm very intuitive. And a lot of things that I say, I'm straight channeling. So I'm not gonna, you know, so it's just like, just understanding a lot about self and realizing like a lot of those fears that I had were, you know, for one, illusions, you know, things that, you know, unhealed wounds and traumas and things that we experienced and whatever that we needed to transmute. But just in general, to get back to the point, is that understanding that we have to address the reality of self before we can manifest, or, you know, to have a proper, how do I say it? We're just, I don't know. But there goes the ADHD again.
Yeah, I think so.
But no, at the end of the day, we just got to make sure that we're doing the inner work. That's really what it boils down to, and understanding, becoming aware of self enough to know what's blocking us from our manifestations, because us just being positive about it will never be enough.
Yeah.
Just being positive and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to get there. Okay. Oh, well, what are you doing to get there? What are you removing out of your way to make room for it to come?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We think that we can just hold on to everything and have everything in our hands without having to remove, leave, block, or whatever, anything from, you know, from our lives and still get what we want. You know, sometimes all those things that you're carrying are in fact the very things that are keeping you from manifesting your desired reality. You know,
I would say this: action takers are the movers and the shakers. It's all about what you want. You know, at the end of the day, what do you want?
Yeah.
You know, and once you figure out what it is that you want,
go get it.
Because we got to understand that your mind is a servant. It's not you. It's here to serve you. So once you get that, grasp that, and you learn these things, and you know, because that's just another key to being able to ascend on this journey. So once you understand, okay, my mind is here to serve me.
Yes, it's a tool.
Now it's go time. Okay, now, you know, so it's always going to be levels to this. I would say, you know, for those who are just getting into this, don't stop, you know, keep going. You're going to have obstacles. You're going to have bumps. All of this is for you to go inside. Everything that happens to you, whether you feel like it's good, whether you feel like it's bad, it's all for you to go back inside, because the inside is the unseen. And the unseen is what rules the seen.
Yeah, it's the infinite.
So this is why everything always makes you go back in. In is what's going to determine outside.
Yes.
So this is why we always talk about, you always hear us talk about these things for people who are just getting into or trying to decipher or kind of really don't know what's going on. This is why you'll always hear us say that, because it's inside. And the inside, it will always determine the outside.
Yes, and if we're constantly, you know what? I think it's Bashar. You guys know who Bashar is?
Yes, I love Bashar.
Me too. And I think that
it's
an analogy or something that he had mentioned, maybe something I've seen last year, and he was talking about, you know, if you're looking in the mirror and when you look in the mirror, if you're waiting for the mirror to smile back at you to be happy, you'll forever be waiting. Because that smile, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I remember when he said that.
Yeah, and you know, I thought that was so powerful, because we forget we're looking outside of ourselves for something to give us meaning, or something to give us inspiration, or something to give us or something to change the way that we feel about ourselves within, right? But we have to have, it first has to happen within us in order for anything to change out. If we're looking for that mirror to change, we have to be the ones to change. And we got to start doing that. That starts with from within. You know, like the saying, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. But it'll always come back.
Mind over matter, you know?
It's kind of like my analogy that I use. I have used plenty of times during my integration courses. If y'all don't mind, I could share it.
Yeah.
So we have, I don't know, I forgot the names that I gave these characters. We have Greg and we have Amy. Nah. We in the hood. We got
Roscoe.
Give me a name, y'all. Some hood names.
Ray.
Ray.
I was about to give you an up name. I was about to say Junebug.
Junebug and Ray. Okay, yeah, perfect. So Ray is standing in front of the bodega on the corner, right? And Ray's holding the $5 bill toughly in his hand. And Junebug comes walking up to Ray. Was like, yo, what's going on, man? He's like, nothing, man. Just holding on to this $5 bill, whatever that $5 bill represents in your life. Going through emotions, right? And Junebug was like, damn, this, you know what I mean? Drop that that $5 and you be all right. You got a whole grip in there. You trying to turn blue and shit. So Junebug goes off into the sunset. Ray still sitting on the corner drinking a 40. 2 weeks later, Junebug comes walking up to the same block, same corner, same bodega. There go Ray still holding that $5 bill. He's like, man, you still holding on to that $5? Like, yeah, man. He's like, damn, you got blisters now. He's like, man, give me $1. I'm about to go into this store and play the lotto. I'm about to get me some scratch offs or whatever. So Junebug comes out. He gives him the copy or whatever, the lottery ticket, and then he goes about his way. 3 weeks later passed. Here comes Junebug walking up to the same street corner. Ray still staying at the damn bodega on the corner, holding that $5 bill. Junebug was like, man, I ain't gonna comment and do, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna look at what you got going on. I'm just gonna go in the store and see about my lotto ticket, see if I won. Junebug comes out the store, was like, yo, son, we hit $1 million. Ray dropped that $5 bill so damn fast. That's the analogy that I have. Like, sometimes we just gotta drop that shit, man.
That's real, though. That's real. And to add to that, you feel me? Like, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the Shannon Sharp interview with Cat Williams. You know, you got to tell Diddy no. That's your intrusive thought. Your intrusive thoughts are like Diddy, right? When you have those thoughts of self-doubt and things that could block your manifestation, you got to tell them motherfuckers no.
Nope.
No, I am not allowing you in my space. I am not allowing you to stagnate my manifestations. Your intrusive thoughts are the Diddies, right? And you got to tell them no.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
No. And then you know what? I think it was KRX. And he had a it was a good video, and he was just talking about how, you know, man, I can't even remember what he said it, but I think that when we're done with the live, I'll probably drop it in the comment section. But basically talking about we're not our thoughts, right? And once we understand that we are not our thoughts, and we can pick and choose which ones we want to entertain, that's when you start to really become a master.
Thoughts are things, guys. Thoughts are things.
Yes.
You don't
That's how powerful you are.
Yeah, and you're the consciousness behind those things, right? And you get to pick which thing is going to benefit you the most. And if it doesn't benefit you don't have to acknowledge it. You don't have to. It's not you. You know what? Like, you know how many times we think, like, I can sit here right now and be like, I just want to smack you in your goddamn face. Right. You know, but am I gonna do it? No, that's free will.
Right.
You know, we don't have to pick. We don't have to choose every thought, or we don't have to take every thought that we think as truth.
Right.
Absolutely.
You don't have, and this is the thing. Once we detach from emotion and not become like, because it's better to say I'm experiencing anger or I'm experiencing sadness, other than say I am sad. I am angry. I am this. Because
Right.
what are we saying? Because then you start embodying the emotion and then you go off into your animalistic nature and you have no more control over your responses, right? You go unconscious. So if we understand, like, okay, it's just like, let's see, I don't know, it's just the wave.
Yeah.
Right? Just like it's like the sand.
Wave illusions.
It's like right, it's like the sand in the water. Like the ocean will come, it'll go. It'll come and it'll go. But the sand stays still. It's not moved by it. You know what I'm saying? Little pieces and whatever, you might obviously you're gonna feel it.
Yeah. Universe gonna test that ass too. Oh yeah, you say you ready, huh? You say yeah. You say you good, huh? Right.
At the end of the day, just remembering that our thoughts, you know, which thoughts we take and accept as truth and integrate is what's going to create or help create our reality. Like you said, Anu, our mind is simply a tool to be used, and it's not the shouldn't be in the driver's seat of your reality. It only should be used to help you create your desired reality, to evolve in whichever way. You know what I'm saying? It's not it's just meant to keep the car on, like the engine.
Right.
You got to take care of it. You got to put good things in it. You got to exercise it, whatever, like, because it's a muscle too, like going back into reality. But just, it shouldn't be steering the vehicle. You're going to crack.
Before I go, guys, once whoever's watching this, you know, listen, have patience with yourself as well too, okay? All right?
Yes.
You know, don't beat yourself up too much, okay? Remember that this is a game for 2. Remember, we're in a simulation within a simulation for 3. Remember that it's your choice if you have to come back and do this shit again.
Don't want to do that.
Remember that it's your choice, and even if you choose that, listen, no judgment here, okay? That is what you chose, okay? Just remember these things, okay? And also remember who you are. I gotta go, guys, because my phone, I don't know what's going on, but I see it. It's like, but I'm definitely gonna get you guys contacts. And let's do this again. I love you. I love you guys. I love you.
Peace, love. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for the wisdom, guys.
Yes. Peace, love. Yes, you know, our thoughts are just that, and we get to pick and choose which ones we choose to entertain, which ones we get to, you know, want to see as truth and implement in our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So speaking about the newbies, right, to Divine University, I want to say this before I go. Manifesting is not just about love and light, positive or negative, right? We talked about that. Transmutation is transmuting energy and using both, using your shadow as your best friend. That's not lagging by the trash can, not a dumpster. So with that being said, if you're new to manifesting deliberately, I'm going to call it, because we're always manifesting, and you're trying to do a certain outcome and it's not working for you right away, you have to build yourself up, because it's kind of like I talked about this bench pressing thing, right? You can't just go in there bench pressing something that you never exercised before and you want to bench press 500 pounds. It's not going to work. So start off small, work your way into it. And then when you get to a certain level and you become strong in that manifestation, things will start coming a lot quicker. You will see your manifestations instantly, like literally. It's so fun.
No, it is. I think
know that you control it. You're like, nah, I'm gonna wait on that. I'm just gonna do this right here. And you start playing the pot for real, like it becomes fun. And then you're still gonna go through the test.
Yeah.
You're not exempt. You're still gonna go through those trials. It's a matter what you do in those moments. So
I would say, you know, have enough compassion in your journey to say that I'm still learning, I'm still growing through my manifestations, but also have enough accountability for yourself to say, I'm being a motherfucking pussy right now. I need to step up. And me having compassion for myself is an excuse right now. So, you know, you got to learn to create that balance within self, you know, between are you holding yourself fully accountable for your actions and your goals and the things that you want to see manifested? Are you going hard enough for that and being compassionate enough to say, okay, let me just rework some things. I'm not going to get pissed off at myself. I'm not going to overly beat down on myself. It's having that balance in between those two.
Ashe.
I think that I would say is that, you know, to remember that life really begins from within. And the quality of your life depends on the quality of cleanliness that you have within yourself. The way that you perceive yourself, the way that you love yourself. And then life in itself becomes a huge manifestation within itself of pure bliss. And, you know, not pure bliss, because again, we're going to go through our ups and downs. But even in the midst of the storms, you will be able to find peace. And you'll be able to conquer those, enslave those demons at the end of the day. But I think that just remembering that, you know, finding that peace within and doing the inner work ultimately brings about a life that's more like a playground.
Yeah.
You know, you go to the playground, you're gonna slip up, you might scrape a knee, you might fall off the slide. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it becomes a, you know, a playground, like you said. You know, it becomes fun, and you start seeing life in a different way, and those manifestations just kind of become something that you know is going to come.
That's facts, because you know what? It's crazy. Now that you said that, it made me recollect about the day, right? I was having an intrusive thought at the time while I was at work, right? And I kept on replaying the thought, right? And I kept on replaying the thought. Universe said, stop. And I was like, I just kept on replaying the thought. So, you know, I do landscaping. So as I'm cutting the grass, right, I got this negative thought in my head. Guess what happened next? 2 big ass wasps. One sting me in the shoulder, one sting me right here in my braid. And the universe said, I told you, ass, stop.
Oh, shoot.
You feel what I'm saying? So that was a reminder right
Tap
there.
you on the
like,
shoulder and your
control
head,
your
right?
thoughts, man. Control your thoughts. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was the universe doing this, plucking you like your parents used to do real hard.
Yeah,
right.
That we're always manifesting, whether we are conscious of it or not. And the way that we think really does shape our reality. You notice, like, once you stub that toe and you start getting irritated and frustrated, and then just things start rolling downhill, is because you allowed your mind to go undisciplined and under, you know what I'm saying? And it just starts going downhill. Discipline is needed to keep your mind at bay. And discipline. It's so easy to get distracted and get frustrated with life in general. It can get crazy, but as long as you have that mental discipline to know, you know, you have power over. I mean, it takes practice. You know, you got to have patience. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Takes a lot of discipline. You know, you got to fight. I always tell my clients, you got to fight for yourself in those moments where you want to go back to old ways, old thought patterns, old, you know, things and whatever else, you know, but eventually it'll come to where it becomes a habit and you're not so easily swayed by your emotions or stubbing of the toes.
Absolutely.
Especially in the Matrix, right? The stuff that they throw at us to keep our vibration down. They throw a lot of crazy shit out there. So
they do. But you guys, thank you guys so much for tapping in with us this evening.
Yes.
Tapping in. If you guys like the live, share the live, comment, whatever else. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we shall see you guys on another episode.
10:44. Ashe.
Peace.
Peace. Love you guys.
What I'm saying is you can't rush my greatness. I've been elevating daily on a mission for my people. All the love I've been receiving, got me oh so